Well, we are part, Belgium is part of the class of 49, so we're part of the countries that established diplomatic relations with today's Indonesia in 1949 already, and ever since the relation has been excellent throughout the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. They've been excellent, but to my view, we can do better. I think it's one thing not to have problems, and we certainly do not have any. It's another thing to build something together. And we are here with a lot of Belgian students, universities, companies, artists. So we're present in all different sectors of society, and with also a large Indonesian community living in Belgium and working in Belgium. But we can do much more, because when I compare our presence in the neighboring countries, and Indonesia is the largest country in ASEAN, and when I compare it to our presence in Vietnam, in Thailand, in the Philippines, this is a good relation, this is a well-working relation, but this is a relation we could take to the next level. And of course, it didn't start in 1949. The two regions have had links for a long, long time before that as well. And we were there just before meeting you with the port authorities from the eastern part of Indonesia, and actually one of the first ships of the Belgian Navy when we became independent in 1830 was called the Makassar. So we have a long history that predates the 1945 Indonesian independence. That's one of the main reasons I was telling you we are doing well, but we can do better. We have a very large trade deficit with Indonesia, but which is a good thing, which we are happy about, because quite a lot of that trade is part of a larger picture. We're importing in Belgium every year more or less $1 billion from Indonesia.
1 billion last year? Or?
Yeah. More or less, it can be. It will be more. It will be more than 1 billion this year. It was more or less 1 billion last year. $900 million before. We count in euro, and sometimes euro and dollar are fluctuating. But let's say it's 1 billion import into Belgium, and 500 million export from Belgium to Indonesia. For us, it's not the deficit that is the issue, it's the level. I think Indonesia can export much more to Belgium than it does now. We are an important market. We are the test market. We are the one of the most central and sophisticated market for Indonesian goods in Europe. We can certainly do better. And we believe Belgian technologies could be more present in Indonesia. So once again, like on your first question, we are doing well. We could be doing better. On the investment figures, we have now more or less 40 Belgian companies in Indonesia. It goes from large oil palm and commodity plantations to a very large supermarket chain, to smaller businesses. It's important and growing. And 2 months ago, we had our princess, the sister of our king, Princess Astrid, came to Jakarta, Bogor, and Bandung, but she also went to Bekasi and Karawang to open 3 large factories. So there again, it is moving, and those factories, which is very important for us, are not only coming to Indonesia, to produce for the Indonesian market, but they are coming to Indonesia because they see this as a hub to produce for the ASEAN economic community and for the Asia-Pacific market, and China included. So that is something that we're very happy about. Our companies realizing the potential of Indonesia as not only the hub for the ASEAN economic community, but also as a gateway to the Asia-Pacific market. Well, I think first on agricultural producers. Our companies are more and more present here. When the princess came, we had very business-like and very technological events, but we also had a couple of very, very nice events because there was very good food there was chocolate, there were desserts, there were fruit, there was very good meat, dairy products, cheeses, and that is something we want to carry on developing with Indonesia because we know Indonesians like good food. You have the most wonderful food in the world here, but we know Indonesians also like to explore and discover food from other countries. And we want to be here. Our companies are very keen on arriving on this market, including a number of niche products like some Belgian beers, for instance. But we do believe also that the Belgian ports and Belgium at large could be the gateway for Indonesian agricultural commodities entering the European market. A lot is going through our northern neighbor, but the ports of Antwerp, the port of Ghent especially, could become major gateways for Indonesian producers, and also Belgium as a whole, a great distribution platform for Indonesian, not only the large companies, but also smaller producers, smaller manufacturers of food into Europe. Because once again, without naming any partners, but we do believe that Indonesian gastronomy and food stuff could be more present in Europe, and we would like to be a part of that. Yes, the European Union is very important for us, and actually we always identify ourselves as very European because the European Council, the European Union Council, the European Commission and the Parliament all are in Brussels. But it's more important than that for us. And actually, if in the 1950s the European Union settled in Brussels, it's because we presented all the characteristics for being very European. Central in the European Union, but also already a very multilingual society, a very multi-religious society. So Belgians have always been naturally European, and they remain so. If we had a referendum in Belgium, people would certainly still be supportive of it, but also people, once again, are being scared by the economic situation, are fearful of the security situation, are afraid for their future as far as employment is concerned, and so there is a reaction of saying we should have less Europe. Actually, more Europe is the solution. So we very much hope that Great Britain is going to decide to remain in the European Union. We very much hope also that Greece remains in the mainstay of the European Union with a good economic and fiscal agreement, and that we can carry on building a European Union for everyone But we do agree also that the European Union has to become more understandable and closer to the people, that it should not be a bureaucratic experience, but something that people can really relate to. Remind people that actually young people can travel all over Europe without borders, that people can travel within the whole of Europe with one currency. No visas, universities are working together, research is being done together on biotechnology, on space, on agriculture, and that is something that we have to explain more. So the European Union will be there to stay, but it will probably have to become closer to the people in Europe. But it has changed a continent, and we have to also explain more to people that the European Union has helped not only for Europe to develop economically very much over the past 70 years, but also that it has been the guarantee of peace in Europe also for the past 70 years. Western Europe has been the location of two of the most terrifying wars that the world has ever seen. That's 1914 and 1939. In the 19th century, Germany, Britain, France were always at war. In the 18th century, in the 17th century, we've been the continent of war. And since we've had the European Union, we haven't had one war in Western Europe or in Central Europe. And that is something that people should never forget. Yes, absolutely. Belgium wants to have the European Union remain definitely with the same 28 member states. We will have other member states joining us in the future, like for instance Serbia, and we would be definitely find it very, very sad if one or the other country was to leave the European Union. But even if that was to happen, the European Union is a project that can certainly survive one or two or three countries leaving. So this is an important crisis for the European Union. This is not a life crisis for the European Union.